Before any thought appears in your mind, before any emotion arises, there is something already here. Awareness. The simple fact that you are aware of this moment. Right now you are aware of these words. You are aware of your body. You are aware of thoughts appearing and disappearing in your mind, but have you ever stopped and asked a very strange question? What exactly is this awareness? Not the thoughts, not the emotions, not the story of your life, but the thing that is aware of all of it. For thousands of years, philosophers and sages in India explored this question more deeply than almost any other culture in history, and what they discovered became one of the most radical philosophical teachings ever recorded. A philosophy known as Advaita Vedanta. Advaita means non-duality. It means reality is not divided into separate pieces. According to this ancient teaching, awareness is not something produced by your brain. It is the fundamental reality of existence itself. And the awareness you experience right now is not separate from the awareness behind the entire universe. Understanding this idea has helped many people experience something surprising. Less anxiety, less overthinking, less fear of other people's opinions. Because when the sense of a separate self begins to dissolve, a huge amount of psychological tension disappears with it. In this video, we are going to explore some of the most powerful ideas in Advaita Vedanta. And if you're curious, you can also explore these ideas deeper with ChatGPT while watching. Because many of the questions that come from this philosophy can lead to fascinating rabbit holes about consciousness, identity, and the nature of reality. But first, notice something simple. You can observe your thoughts. A thought appears, and you know it appeared. Then the thought disappears, and you know it disappeared. The same is true for emotions. An emotion rises, then fades away. Even your body is something you can observe. You can notice sensations in your hands, your breathing, your heartbeat. But this leads to a strange realization. If you can observe your thoughts, you cannot be the thoughts. If you can observe emotions, you cannot be the emotions. If you can observe the body, then perhaps you are not limited to the body either. So what is the one thing that is always present? The awareness that notices everything. Advaita Vedanta teaches that this awareness is the true self. Not the personality, not the memories, not the story of who you think you are. Just pure awareness. If this idea feels confusing, you might try asking ChatGPT something interesting. For example, what is awareness in Advaita Vedanta? Or you could ask something even deeper. Is awareness created by the brain, or does consciousness exist independently of the brain? Questions like these have fascinated philosophers, neuroscientists, and mystics for centuries. But Advaita Vedanta does not ask you to believe anything. Instead, it invites you to investigate your own experience. One of the most powerful practices in this tradition is called self-inquiry. Instead of trying to control the mind, self-inquiry simply asks a question. Who am I? At first, this question seems philosophical. But when you investigate it carefully, something interesting happens. A thought appears. Then you ask, am I this thought? Clearly not, because you are observing it. An emotion appears. You ask, am I this emotion? Again, no, because the emotion is something that comes and goes. Advaita Vedanta describes this process using a phrase called Neti Neti. Not this, not that, not the body, not the thoughts, not the emotions, not the memories. Through this process, something remarkable begins to happen. Everything you once believed yourself to be starts to look more like something you are simply observing. Your personality, your fears, your past mistakes, even the voice inside your head. All of it appears in awareness and then disappears again. What remains is the silent awareness that was always present. Many people report that practicing this changes their relationship with the past. Old regrets lose their power. Embarrassing memories become lighter. because you begin to see that those experiences happened within awareness, but they never defined what awareness itself is. The awareness that you are right now was never damaged by your past. It was simply present while those events unfolded. For many people, this realization creates a powerful sense of freedom. The mind becomes quieter. The need to constantly defend an identity begins to relax. You start noticing that much of the anxiety in daily life comes from trying to protect an image of who you think you are. But if that identity is only a collection of thoughts and memories, then what exactly is there to defend? This is why Advaita Vedanta has fascinated philosophers for thousands of years, because it challenges the most basic assumption we make about ourselves, the assumption that we are separate individuals inside a universe. Advaita suggests something far stranger, that the universe itself appears within consciousness, and the consciousness in which it appears is the same awareness you experience right now. One of the most famous teachers of Advaita Vedanta was Ramana Maharshi. His method was extremely simple. Whenever a thought appeared, he suggested asking a question. To whom does this thought arise? The answer is obvious, to me. Then he asked the next question. Who am I? Instead of answering intellectually, you simply turn your attention toward the awareness that notices the question. Over time, something subtle begins to shift. Instead of being lost inside the stream of thoughts, you start recognizing yourself as the awareness in which those thoughts appear. This practice can lead to some very interesting experiences. For example, some people experiment with self-inquiry before falling asleep. They lie in bed observing their thoughts, repeating the process of Neti Neti. Not this, not that. As the body slowly falls asleep, awareness remains present. Sometimes this can lead to unusual states of consciousness. Some people report lucid dreams. Others experience sleep paralysis while remaining mentally aware. These experiences are not the goal of Advaita Vedanta, but they reveal something fascinating. They show how flexible the sense of self really is. If you are curious about these states, you might explore questions like, what happens to consciousness during sleep? Can awareness remain present during dreams? What is the relationship between meditation and lucid dreaming? These topics connect Advaita Vedanta with neuroscience, psychology, and modern consciousness research. But even without exploring those ideas further, you can notice something right now. Before the next thought appears, there is awareness. Silent, still, unchanging. It was present when you were a child. It was present during every experience you have ever had, and it is present right now. Advaita Vedanta suggests that recognizing this simple fact may be one of the most important discoveries a human being can make. Because once you begin to see yourself as awareness itself, many of the fears and pressures created by the ego begin to dissolve. If you enjoy exploring ideas like this, consider liking the video so more people can discover them. And if you're interested in consciousness, ancient philosophy, and exploring deeper questions with AI, subscribe for more. Life continues, thoughts still arise, but they no longer define who you are. And from that realization, a surprising sense of freedom begins to emerge. If you want to explore this philosophy further, you could ask ChatGPT questions about Advaita Vedanta, self-inquiry, non-duality, or the nature of consciousness. You may discover ideas that completely change the way you understand yourself and reality. But even without searching for more answers, you can notice something right now. Before the next thought appears, awareness is already here. And recognizing that may be the beginning of a completely different way of experiencing life.